Welcome back to Hardspace, Shipbreaker. Now, I noticed that one of my videos I'd actually titled How to Salvage, and I think I was talking about the Javelin fuel tank, the large one in the center. And I've since learned that it's a little bit misleading for searches and YouTube algorithm, so I've renamed those videos. However, it did give me the thought that I could do a little bit of a how-to series. So I'm going to jump in on this heavy cargo Makerel here, and the goal is going to be perhaps explaining in more detail why I'm doing what I'm doing, or why I'm not doing something. So let's get in on this one here and get started. Now, first up, immediately when I jump in, I'm going to look to check my tethers, because the last thing you want to be doing is making runs back to your ship, back to the hab, to refresh tethers. Now, when you're on your way in like this, floating in, anything loose on the outside of the ship that you can rip off in a second, do it. And when you are flicking it down like that, you'll actually impart momentum on it as soon as it disconnects. Now, I'm going to cut these points here, because that's going to allow the sides of the cockpit to separate, which is going to assist me in a moment. Now, if you want to check before you get into the ship whether or not it's pressurized, if you hit this window with your laser, it's going to say danger. That means that you've just doing some information gathering on your way in, that you can see whether or not it's actually going to be pressurized. You might make a different decision instead. Now, if you press T, you can look at the ship through your scanner. However, what I like to do is when you interact with something and you do your animation, you can cancel animation with your scanner. So check this out. Toggle scanner. Airlock's toggling, and I'm not stuck there on that animation. When you're trying to speed up, trying to do things a little bit quicker, that half a second or whatever it might be that you gain there can be quite valuable. Now, what I'm going to be doing immediately here is I'm checking for atmosphere regulators. At the same time, anything that's loose that I can grab, I may as well. And if there's solid doors here, then, and if you pump the atmosphere out, it'll actually close these, and that'll mean that you end up being kind of trapped in here, because if you just open the doors, then you have all of the atmosphere rush into this space. However, if that does happen, you can cut your way out and use the airlock again. Now, it looks like we might be able to just toggle this one here. Yep, no doors closing there.
Air pressure level.
Now, the only risk we run is that, never mind, if this was all sealed here, we could potentially have atmosphere on that compartment there. But seeing as how we don't, what I'm going to work on here is I'm going to cut these 4 points. That's going to separate the cockpit from the rest of the ship. Now I'm just being a little bit careful here because there's a few bits and pieces floating around. Now if you've got everything upgraded, you will be able to just pop this out of the way. However, if you don't have all of the upgrades, what you can do instead is you can actually exit the ship and then use a tether, and you can tether it to one of these big floating tether points up here. You can pull it away from the ship. Now, it's usually at this point where I'll decide what direction I'm going to head in first, but just a hint while we're here, if you line this up here and get your splitter cutter out, you can actually cut most of these points all in one go. So let's just see that again. Gotta be a little bit careful. You gotta make sure you're not gonna hit anything you don't want to hit. And that can save you an awful lot of time right there. There you go, so that's that whole floor disconnected. So again, no parts, momentum on that, you don't necessarily even need to use F.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
So I'm going to bring it up to clear that nanocarbon panel, and as I do, I may as well just flick it down, give it a little bit if I need to. Now that's not to say that it's quicker to not use the tethers, because tethers are amazing, but I see so many people using tethers for things that they don't need to.
Deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
See, like here, if I was to individually tether these down, it's a bit of a waste, but you know, if it's going to be something that speeds up the process, go ahead.
Salvage deposit secured.
Now,
Credits
you
awarded.
may have tried to disconnect this one first, this floor panel, and what you'll notice here is there's actually a structural beam running along here, and the floor panel likes to pull up onto that. So if you're ever having troubles getting that to come free, all you need to do is push it back in towards the rear of the ship, and that should fix that up for you. Now this is what I'm talking about with the fact that you can impart momentum.
Salvage registered.
Did you see that crate that I just flicked down into the barge? That was a perfect example, because I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to use my F on it. I didn't have to tether it. I didn't have to do anything like that. Now I'm just gonna push these asteroid shards out of here. Now, if you're concerned about dunking this reactor, don't forget your tethers can detach parts if it's a part that you can pull off with your grapple. So I'm going to attach my tether there, and I'm going to attach it down to the barge. The tether's going to pull the reactor for me, and it's going to just dunk it down into the barge for me. Quick check. We haven't missed anything on the roof. Now, let's try that same trick of cutting all of the points. It's gonna bite us a little bit. Just get it out of the way there. Now, you see how I didn't exactly line that up? There is a bit of finesse to it. Now, this asteroid shard's really fighting me, so I'm just going to push him clear. Now I'm going to tether him. Now, this is clear here, however, you do have your 2 attachment points here. And if it would stop moving, you can do the same thing
Raw material processed.
with the
Credits
cutter,
deposited.
splitter cutter if you're good. Because you're not going to cut the nanocarbon. Just like that. Now you might have noticed that I cut the
Salvage
panel
deposit
there.
registered.
Furnace.
Account credited.
That was obviously an accident. You can strip the lights off these panels if you're feeling like it. And I don't have a problem with
Valuable object
cutting
processed.
all the
Credits
way
awarded.
down into where that thruster is attached. Now, I very, very rarely vent the thrusters, and this is why. I'm going to push off that back part of the ship,
Signed.
that nanocarbon. That's going to free the thruster from the whole thing. And then I can just drop this whole rear segment of the ship
Salvage
into
accepted. Credit applied.
Processor bay there. Now, next. I don't think there's too much to speak on here. If you have a lot of electrical conduits, it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Get your splitter cutter out. If you really want to get the fuel tank out of the way early, you can. But remember that trick when you interact with the handle, you want to be cancelling it with the scanner. Now be careful here that you don't breach the radiation filter. And just pop him out there with your F and duck it down. Now I'm going to continue to clear the rear segment of the ship because I'm going to be stopped by those radiation filters and also by the airlock here. So just again, when I come in here, interact, scanner toggle. Right, that fuel is still flushing from the pipes, and while it's flushing, you can pretty much get this whole nacelle or whatever is here done and dusted. Keep in mind, some of these fuel tanks are heavier, so they might buy you. I'm actually stuck here. There we go. If you want to try to get it out, you can. Usually what I'll do is I'll leave it there and I'll keep cutting, and then when I'm peeling through this whole side of the ship, that's when I'll worry about the fuel tank, so I'll show you that here. Now, yeah, you can pull them little bits of processors, nanocarbon out, but I'm not going to worry about that. Point to note here, don't try to attach your tethers to these panels. You want to attach it to the actual hull itself. These panels pull off, I'll show you. They detach just like other components. So you're trying to pull that whole skin off the hull there, and you're achieving nothing. Now I've forgotten the rest of the airlock here. One moment. Yep, I didn't open the airlock after I vented the internals. So like I was saying, wait until you peel off that side of the hull, and then that fuel tank, yeah, it's 1.2 ton, so I'm just gonna dunk it there with the tether. These door panels or airlock consoles, whatever you want to call them, do not sleep on them because they are worth an awful lot of money. Now, this whole thing should come away. Yep. Again. Anyway, like I was saying, wait until that side skin is clear. Tether that fuel tank, it's one of the heavy ones. There are fuel tanks with different weights. Now, you don't need to sit here with the single point, is that, what's it called? This, yeah, that mode. Use your splitter cutter, is what I'm saying. This is all one solid piece, all one solid cut point. So, splitter cutter, radiation filter comes out. That again, splitter cutter, filter comes out. Now that that's out, yeah, take the access panels out. I like to leave my junction boxes until the last. I don't know if they're as bad as they used to be, but I've had some absolutely horrendous experiences with them. Yeah, come in here. That's going to peel away that side piece there.
almost done, Cutter. 1 minute left. Processor deposit accepted. Credits awarded.
Now, because we have taken off both of them sides and also detached the those points off the, for lack of a better term, bumper bar, that's just going to come straight away. Yeah, now you're just left with this. It's got nothing on the front there, so clearing this out is literally as easy as detach whatever it is. Junction box is giving us some problems here. Anyway, and just shoot it down into the barge there.
Salvage deposit secured.
That's about it. What I'll do here is I'll jump back in on that ship and I'll finish salvaging it, and I'll probably time-lapse that last little bit of footage.
Good morning, Shipbreaker. Please enjoy the following inspirational message. Success is not the key to
Just for all
happiness.
of you completionists out there
Happiness
who
is the key to success.
really hate to see me
If you
leave a
love
ship
what you do,
half salvaged
Valuable
like that.
object accepted for processing.
Alright. Presumably I'll have ended the time lapse there, and as you can see, you can perfect this. 1.7% destroyed, 210,000 lost. Majority of that is going to be things like the lights, the aluminium structure here, because what you saw me clearing off at the end there was the radiation containment panels. So that's 2 of them there, 9,000 kilograms, so 4,500 kilograms each. Just under 900,000 cleared off those. So if you're putting them in the furnace, well, look how much you're missing out on. Biggest downfall is that it does take some time to clear them of the ship. Usually I will just throw them in. You can still clear tier 5 reward here when you drop them in most of the time without any issues. But if you don't mind spending the extra time, if you don't mind doing 2 shifts on a Makerel, then by all means. It's close to $1 million there that you're getting just on those radiation containment units. Alright, well, if you've enjoyed this content, if you found this informative, if you have any suggestions, any way I think I can improve, anything that you didn't know which you're
Hello,
going to include
Shipbreaker.
in your salvages from
This
now
is your
on,
morning wake-up
let me
call.
know down below. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.